Welcome to another episode of Band Together Leadership Seminars. My name is Paul Everts. I am the CEO and founder of Band Together. We're listening to some Wynton Marsalis tonight. It's classical per se. I know it's probably more like Baroque-ish, getting to the classical time period, but anyway. The reason I do that is because I don't think that Facebook's going to say no. So we're listening to some Wynton Marsalis tonight. Anyway, again, I'm Paul Everts. Thank you so much for tuning in. I am recording this on the 28th of December. That's a Monday night. Usually I do Tuesday nights, but I wanted to get this out tonight because I want you to have a goal. I want you to be like the Ragman. We're going to read who the Ragman is tonight. Before I start, let me also say, if you want to get a hold of me, go to my email address, the BAND, number 2, together, band together at Comcast.net. You can also look for me on my website, which is www.conductingmylife.com, and you're going to see all that in the description of tonight's episode. And if you go to the curriculum tab, you'll see all the John Maxwell curriculum that I can do. I'm certified in about 6 or 7 different topics. Please hire me. I'd like to come and do the private sector. I'll come and do public sector. I can do whatever you want, man. I'm ready to go. We'll have a good time. Trust me, we will. So, just a reminder, and if you're new to the Band Together Leadership Seminars, thank you very much for tuning in. I appreciate that. It means a lot to me. We also are a small little business, and we do have Venmo. I'm not ashamed of saying, please help us. It costs me about $100 a month to have a website and to do a podcast. Plus, I just got a trademark on my E-Triangle, and that's costing me another $1,000. So if you're interested in helping, please go to the curriculum tab, go all the way down to Venmo, and make a contribution to our business. I'm doing all I can not to get a loan or get a handout from the government. But again, if I have to, because I believe in the message so much, the E-Triangle is super important to me. And if you don't know what the E-Triangle is, here it is. Boom. E stands for Everts, but we're turning it into anything that's positive with an E. Everyone, everybody, excellent, extraordinary. What else? E. I don't know, exit. Get out of here if you don't like it. I don't know. But E. So we want everyone, everybody, equality, equity, E-Triangle. And E-Triangle, of course, has 3 sides, which would be, as you can see right there, which would be respect, responsible, and the foundation is discipline. Got to have discipline in life. Then inside's integrity and faith. So that's what we're working on. As I said to you, I am a high school band director. So we just got done with the semester. We are on break right now, which is nice. And I'm going to read to you what I read to my students on the 18th of December for their final goodbye. They're 2 weeks off. As you know, we've been doing Zoom. I'm in a small town, 20 minutes northeast of Sacramento, California. So we're in Northern California. And so the final day, which was the 18th, I said, I'm going to read this story. And I've read this story countless times. And I love this story. First time I heard the story, about 25, 26 years ago in Monterey. And Gary and Debbie, who are just dear people, they introduced me to this story, and it has stuck with me for over 25 years, and I want to make sure I say thank you to them. So I dedicate this to them tonight. I'm going to read to you as far as I read to my students, and I'm going to say I will finish it tonight, but please remind yourselves I did not read the end to the students because, the triangle says respect, responsible, discipline, integrity, and faith. And I realized that some people aren't going to like the ending, especially in public education, so I didn't read the ending. And you'll see why. But I will give you plenty of time to turn this off and say enough is enough. So here it goes. This is called Ragman by Walter Wangerin Jr. I saw a strange sight. I stumbled upon a story most strange, like nothing in my life. My street sense, my sly tongue, had ever prepared me for. Hush, child, hush now, and I will tell this story to you. Even before the dawn one Friday morning, I noticed a young man. He was handsome, strong, walking the alleys of our city. This handsome young man was pulling an old cart filled with clothes, both bright and new. And he was calling in a clear tone, "Rags! Ah, the air was foul, and the first light filthy to be crossed by such a sweet sound as rags. New rags for old. I take your tired rags, rags. Now this is a wonder, I thought to myself, for the man stood 6'4", and his arms were like tree limbs. They were hard, they were muscular, and his eyes, they flashed intelligence. Could he find no better job than this, to be a ragman in the inner city? I followed him. My curiosity drove me, and I'm thankful I was not disappointed. Soon the ragman saw a woman sitting on her back porch. The woman was sobbing into a handkerchief. She was singing. She was shedding 1,000 tears. It was just a terrible sight to see. And her knees and elbows, well, they made this very sad X. Her shoulders were shaking. Her heart, you could just see, was breaking. Well, the ragman stopped his cart. Quietly, he walked to the woman, stepping around all these tin cans, dead toys, and diapers. He said to the woman, "Give me your rag, and I'll give you another." Ragman slipped the handkerchief from her eyes. She looked up and laid across her palm a linen cloth so clean and new that it shined. She blinked from the gift to the giver. Then, as he began to pull his cart, the ragman did a strange thing. He put her stained handkerchief to his own face, and then he began to weep. He sobbed as grievously as she had done, and his shoulders were shaking. Yet the woman was without a tear. This was a wonder, I breathed to myself. I followed the sobbing ragman like a child who cannot turn away from mystery. Rags! Rags! New rags for old! In a little while, when the sky showed gray behind the rooftops and I could see the shredded curtains hanging out black windows, the ragman came upon a girl whose head was wrapped in a bandage, whose eyes, well, they were empty eyes. Blood soaked her bandage. A single line of blood ran down her cheek. Now the tall ragman looked upon this child with pity, and he drew a lovely yellow bonnet from his cart. He said, "Give me your rag." And he's tracing his own line on her cheek, and I'll give you mine. The child could only gaze at him while he loosened the bandage, removed it, and tied it to his own head. The bonnet he sat on hers, and I gasped at what I saw, for with the bandage went the wound. Against his brow it ran a darker, more substantial blood, his own. Rags! Rags! I take old rags! Cried the sobbing and bleeding, strong, intelligent ragman. The sun hurt both the sky now and my eyes. The ragman seemed more and more to hurry. Are you going to work? He asked the man who leaned against the telephone pole. The man shook his head. The ragman pressed him. Well, do you have a job? Are you crazy? Sneered the other man. The man pulled away from the pole, revealing the right sleeve of his jacket. It was flat. The cuff was stuffed into his pocket. The man had no arm. Ragman said, "So, give me your jacket, and I'll give you my jacket." Quietly, authority in his voice, the one-armed man took off his jacket, and so did the ragman, and I trembled at what I saw. For the ragman's arm stayed in its sleeve, and when the other put it on, well, this man now had two good arms. They were thick as tree limbs, but now the ragman had only one arm. Ragman said, "Go to work." After that, Ragman found a drunk lying unconscious beneath an army blanket. An old man, hunched, weazened, sick. He took the blanket and wrapped it around himself, but for the drunk man, he left new clothes. And now I had to run to keep up with the Ragman, though he was weeping uncontrollably, bleeding freely at the forehead, pulling his cart with one arm, stumbling for drunkenness, falling again and again, exhausted, old, very old and sick. Yet he went with terrible speed, like on spider's legs, skittered through the alleys of the city, this mile, that next mile, until he came to the city limits. And then he rushed beyond. I was crying to see the change in the Ragman. I hurt to see his sorrow. And yet I need to see where the Ragman was going in such a hurry, perhaps to know what drove him so. The little old Ragman, well, he came to a landfill. He came to the garbage pits, and I waited to help him in what he did, but you know what? I hung back. I was hiding. He climbed a hill. With tormented labor, he cleared a little space on that hill. Then the little Ragman sighed. He lay down. He pillowed his head on a handkerchief and a jacket. He covered his bones with that army blanket. And he died. That's where I end the story on the 18th of December. I did not go on. And as I'm reading this right now, I want you to understand I did not go on because of the respect of public education. I want to be responsible what I'm doing for the children, young adults. And it took discipline not to go on. But I have integrity and I have faith. And as I'm reading this to you, I'm thinking again, saying, you know what? You can read it, and you can go for it. He says, oh, how I cried to witness that death. I slumped in a junked car and wailed and mourned as one who has no hope because I had come to love the Ragman. Every other face had faded in the wonder of this man, and I cherished him. But he died, and I cried myself to sleep. I did not know, how could I know, that I slept through Friday night and Saturday and it's night too. And then that's where I'm going to end. And I'm going to let you read it. Okay? Because it's a great ending. And I think Paul, why would you read such a story to your students on December 18th? Well, it's been that kind of a year. It's been a year where we've needed a Ragman to come help us. Because we all have dirty rags this year. I mean, if anything, COVID-19 has taught me that people are going to leave you. They're going to leave you. You give them a clean rag, and they'll take that rag, and they'll walk away. I've learned that through COVID-19. I've also learned that I've had some dirty rags, and I've had people give me clean rags and make me a better man. That's for darn sure. And so what I'm saying to you is that if you see this in the next 3 days, that would be tomorrow's the 29th, the 30th, 31st, end the year by doing one of two things. Hand somebody a clean rag, or you exchange your dirty rag for a clean rag. I would read the story if I were you. It's a great story. Walter Wangerin is just a great writer, and I think you kind of know what the ending's going to be. So I dedicated that to Gary and Debbie and to their family, and I love them very much, and I miss them, and I'm so glad that I heard that story like 25 years ago. And as I said to you, I do hope that whatever happened to you this year, you can be like the Ragman, and either you help somebody or they helped you. And I'm hoping that when there are times that you had the opportunity to help somebody, you did. I know I did. And I also want to admit to you with some shame that there were times when I didn't help. And I regret that. And I'm sorry. So with that being said, begin with the end in mind. How do you want to end 2020? Begin with the end in mind. It's perfect. You got 3 days or so. And then also, why don't you think about how do you want to start 2021? Okay, so not just begin with the end in mind, but begin with the beginning in mind. And then first seek to understand. Seek first to understand, then be understood. People have dirty rags. Offer them a clean rag. And you have, and I have dirty rags. And when someone offers you a clean rag, take it. Exchange it. And then finally, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. I care about you very much. That's why I'm doing this on Monday night, the 28th of December. And the last thing we say it 3 times. I am doing the best I can. 2 more times. I am doing the best I can. And then the 3rd time, I'm doing the best I can. So everyone needs to know how to earn and give respect. Everyone needs to have a sense of responsibility, take 100% responsibility. And then that takes a great deal of discipline, doesn't it? And then finally, integrity. Who you are in the dark is going to come out in light. Okay? Walk to walk, talk to talk. And then I'll say to you, faith. And faith isn't just religiosity. Faith is faith in yourself and fellow human beings. And if you want to, find a deity, find God, and have faith in God. All right, everybody, until next year. Thanks a lot for all your support this year. Take care. Love you. Bye.